Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Forgotten. Where we last left off, we left off basically working on a lobby section right here. Now, why a separate lobby? Good question. The only reason I'm doing a separate lobby is because I want to have part of this level on the as an outside section. Now, the only downside is I don't want the player to actually realize, because there is level streaming involved, I don't want the player to actually realize that there is a separate area. Now, the best way to go about doing this and still be able to have an outside section is one of two ways. The first way is going to be um, basically have a separate map, which, to be fair, is doable. It is sort of a pain in the ass, but it is doable. Now, so what I mean by a separate map is you actually get teleported to a different area of the map. But honestly, that's not what I want to do. Another big issue is that um, Unreal, when it loads a new map, it freezes. So basically, like the screen will freeze, and I don't want the screen to freeze. So what I'm going to do is probably, hmm, I'm half tempted to make it flat, but at the same time, I don't know if I would like to do that. You know what I'm going to do instead, right? So I just thought of this. Um, I can still use this basic layout and still put like a new style um, thing here, but I'm also going to switch it over and have a small uh, tunnel area that uses a different map setting, I think is what I'm going to do. So it's not that big of a deal for me. It's just a separate lobby area. So that's perfectly okay for me and what I decide to do. So what we're going to do is add a couple of brushes in, and we're going to use, let's see, this is wall A. So we want a wall A. Everything's going to be wall A on this section. So, okay, this is actually needs to be rotated, it looks like, because it doesn't overlap it. That's how I can tell. Okay. If I can get that straight. All right, switch over to um, this section here. Oops, that's a little bit too big. Now, if you're wondering how I'm cloning without using the pop-up menu, I'm just holding Alt and doing that. Oh, shit. No, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. That'll still work. That'll still work. I just can't have it straight head on. If I have it head on, that's going to cause problems for me. And I don't know what's causing the mouse to do that. I really have no idea, to be honest, why my mouse does literally lets go when I'm still holding the damn button. Wrong direction. Okay, so this way. Now I could put a small hallway in, like that, like the curved areas, like this, but I really want to avoid that right now. So that's which is fine. It's understandable why I would want to do that. So this is the right direction. Okay, so now I got to be careful. I want to put another wide transition in here. So I do want to put a wide transition without a doubt. So we're going to go to wall A transition wide. And then we're going to do, okay. And now we're going to put another wall A here. Now, like I said, this is going to be somewhat of a, this is going to be somewhat of just like a massive lobby. Now, one of the things that this is just really, there's really nothing here. It's just a lobby, like a small lobby area. Um, that's it. But at the same time, I don't want it to look like, I want it to look, see, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Okay. So I just thought of how I want to say this. So what I'd like to do, we're going to go back to perspective mode here real quick. Go straight to lit. Now, what I'd like to do, and I just thought of this, just thought of how I want to say this, is we're going to do this. And I need to back up. So Alt to hold. It'll copy everything. Okay, oops, right there. I think that's, oh, I was very close. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over. So we do rotation of 180. That's not what I wanted. Damn it. Okay, let's try X. There we go, 180. Okay, now what that does is that will put in a couple of area like type deals, which is fine. There's nothing against that. Okay, so but now you're wondering, well, what, you have a big hole in there? Yeah, I do, but I've actually thought of that problem. So what we'll do is we will put a round ceiling here. Now the problem with this is that it's obviously not going to show it very well, but that's okay. Perspective view. Okay, so we're going to have to rotate this. Now I cannot put it here in the center. Obviously that's not going to work. I'm going to put it across there, but it's going to be a skylight, which, to be fair, the skylights are actually a royal pain in the ass to do, which is fine. I mean, I have nothing really against putting a skylight if it's needed. Unfortunately, the skylights are, like I said, a royal fucking pain in the ass. So, um, before I do that, I'm going to change the materials on the ceilings to ceiling A. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to change the materials on the ceilings to at least match. Now this is where it's going to get interesting. So this right here, this square, is where I'm going to have the skylight. So we're going to do brushes, and we're going to put a skylight in. Now here's the funny part. I have interactive lights. I'm going to put some interactive lights around. Obviously, I feel like it's important to do that. I could, but do I really want to? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see how much light I have. I might just put like some other lights in. Okay, so first of all, this is where things are going to get interesting. So I'm going to get as close as I can. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so basically, watch this. So if this is too high, and you're going to say, oh, that's perfect. Are we sure? No, it's not. This is one of those times where I go into wireframe mode. Actually, I go into a different side view. Okay, and I go into wireframe. This is where the wireframe really helps. And also I need to go into 1. Now what I do, the reason I do 1 is so I get fairly close. And then as you can see, it's still not lined up. So I F11 to make it max. So this way because my screen is not perfect, then I have to do disable grid snapping for some stupid reason. Very, very close. Very close. Okay. Yeah, this is probably one of those reasons I should have a 4K monitor. But guess what? I cannot afford that. So hot damn, that's pretty good. Okay. Perspective. Okay, so now how do I get these two done? Simple. So what we do is we go into round perspective. We go top view. I'm going to go top view. Fuck it. So this is still wireframe, but you're probably wondering, well, you have two big holes here. Very simple. Round ceiling cap, and this is what I did for the other sections. But we want, because I already know it's going to set that, so we're going to rotate, do that. Damn, that looks really off. Yeah, that actually looks horribly. Oops, I think I did that wrong. Perspective. Okay, so is it like off a shit ton or what? Oh, hold up. Oh, delete. Okay, yeah, no wonder it was fucked up. Okay, 10. I was wondering what the hell happened. Top view. Okay, let's try that again. Round ceiling cap. Yeah, see, I like that better. Okay. There we go. Perspective. Okay. Shift. Oops, spacebar, spacebar. Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly why it does that. It's like it loses it for some reason. It likes to lose shit. So the fuck? Oh, it's probably it was up too high. I was wondering what the fuck happened. All right, drop it down one notch. Drop that down one notch. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the interactive lights, which for the month of December, which is probably when this is going to get uploaded, those things are free at the moment. So we do examples. Now we have a bunch of different lights we can choose from. The thing is, I want one that it sort of looks like it just got added in at the last minute. So we're going to go with this one here, fluorescent light. Hit lit, which really and truly is not going to mean anything anyway. So I just want one that looks like it was just added in at the last minute. But I want to change the intensity, the maximum intensity, just a little bit higher. Okay, there we go. I guess that's decent. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't really have a lot of massive brightness, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, which is interesting that it's actually a spotlight, to be fair. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to introduce some of the old lights. I could do a ceiling lamp. I could, but I'm going to add. In fact, I'm actually going to go back to the abandoned hospital pack, do blueprints, put a lamp B right here. Now here's where it gets interesting. It is fucking bright as shit in here, which it sort of is. So we're going to change this to no unlit, so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, it's already pretty much where I want it anyway. It's just a little bit too much over. Okay, and we're going to increase the brightness. Now, this is where things get interesting. I actually have to scroll this down to point light, see how many minutes I have inherited, and we want the one that says light. Crank the intensity up. So let's try 1,000. 1, 1, 2, 3. Enter. 1,000 does actually provide some light without going without going too much. But let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually crank it up to 1,500. So 1,500. Still not doing anything. Let's say 25. Let's say 4,000. 4, 1, 2, 3. 4,000 is a little bit nicer. It doesn't make that big of a difference on the floor, which is I'm okay with, to be honest. We're going to build the lights because it looks like that is a static light and not a dynamic light, which it looks like it says on the right hand side of the screen underneath where it says details in the details panel. So I'm going to have to rebuild the lights every time I want to do that. I think the others, I don't know if the others are static lights or not, but that's fine. This is in preview mode for those who are wondering, and I'm trying to render a video at the moment, so this is going to be funny to do. I have to render it in Windows, in this version of Windows, unfortunately. So fuck it. So basically, while this is actually going, so I'm not sure how much CPU time this is going to take. This is probably going to be really interesting to handle, but that's fine. So while that's building, I'm going to go ahead and discuss my thoughts on what I'm going to do. First thing we need to do is also, I need to create a new level. This level is going to be called outside. So we need to create a new level. This is going to be called outside. Now, there's only one outside area to this, which is this is going to be outside the museum. Now, outside the museum is going to be consisting of the exterior area of the museum that is utilized just really to but to basically draw, almost want to say to draw in the user, but you're going to actually start outside in the museum, or well, actually, I can have it start you out in the subway. Um, and that's probably what I'm going to do, because to go into this area, you have to start at the subway section anyway. Um, I'm not sure. The thing is, this is not a horror game, and I can't think of many horror games that actually take place during the day. In by the way, when I say during the day, I know there's some that do take place during the day. I'm more talking about not necessarily during the day, but I'm more concerned with at at night. So, or at least outside during the day. While I am aware of Silent Hill, that series, a lot of it does take place during the day. Most notably, Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2. I want to say part of Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 4. But Silent Hill, let's take Silent Hill, the Team Silent Hills. Silent Hill 1 and 2 do take place outside a lot during the day where there are enemies. Silent Hill 3 takes place outside during the day once, if I'm not mistaken, which is in the. But the thing is, and it is foggy as hell. So I put the element of fog in there to basically be similar to nighttime. Then there is the element of Silent Hill 3. There's only one spot where it takes place during the day, if I'm not mistaken, and that's very early in the game. In fact, it's so early that there are no enemies, and it's still foggy as hell. And this is at the mall. Silent Hill 4, there's only one particular location that is certainly during the day, and that is which is Silent Hill 4 the room, and that actually is in Henry's apartment. But there are no enemies during that section. I don't recall during the second half of the game. I know the first half, but I can't speak about the second half. And you could say the same thing for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Well, there are 2 levels for certain that I know, actually 3 levels for certain I know that take place during the day. The old archives, the entryway, and the archives. Those I know for certain take place during the day. The wine cellar and the laboratory, I don't recall if they have windows. The rainy hall, I can't tell because there's a thunderstorm going on outside. There are windows, there's just a thunderstorm going on outside. So that also but the rest of the game does look to be at nighttime. I believe this. I don't believe the Cellar Archives actually has a window in it. If I'm not mistaken, there is no window. But that's what I personally believe. Holy shit! Yeah, that's bright. It's bright, but it's not very bright. Now, another thing is, you could say about Shattered Memories. Okay, Shattered Oops, that's not what I wanted. Shattered Memories still has the element of a fog type section to it. So Shattered Memories, using that as an example, is kind of, it just covers Silent Hill altogether. I do not believe there's a Resident Evil that takes place during the day. I could be mistaken about that. Let's see. I need to build lighting again. I do not believe there is a Resident Evil that takes place during the day. I do not believe there is a. I don't think, to my knowledge, I don't think there's one that takes place. Like I said, I'm not sure. I don't remember a horror game taking place during the day. That's actually a horror game. That's natively a horror game. You could theoretically say, like, I have one called The Wild Eternal. You could possibly say that's a horror game, but it doesn't. It's not a horror game. First and foremost, um, it really does depend on how you have the game set. How like I said, I really can't think of one right off the bat. And most horror games I can think of actually are at nighttime, or they have an element of a visibility difference. The fuck? A visibility differential. And that visibility differential is what's going to make a difference. So what I'm going to do is for the outside level, I'm just building the lighting here. Now I still need to finish building the lighting, and I still need to get it synced up and then add a new room. But there's a big difference in the visibility of lighting. That lighting visibility is that the um, and lighting visibility differential, it basically means from a clear day to like massive fog, like fog, um, a darkness. Anytime there's a massive visibility differential. Oh, that does remind me. You could technically say part of Silent Hill 2 does technically take place when there's no fog. That is correct. Part of Silent Hill 2 does have that. That is the observation deck. But you could also technically say that is not much of a horror section because that is at the start of the game, and most Silent Hill games that I am aware of don't start you out in a at nighttime. Or not? No, that's not true. Most most Silent Hill games I know of, um, when they start you out, usually you start out in a semi-safe area. Even Silent Hill Origins, I think, still follows that same route. You start out in a safe area for a bit. Um, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, you do start